Well, hello everyone. So, welcome back to another video of this thing. So we continue from what we had in the previous weeks. Okay, and I hope that this is the last one, the last video on home learning and so on. Okay, not because I really miss you guys at school, but I just really hope that this semester ends quickly. Okay, that's all about it. So yeah, that's about it. And so let's continue with our discussion. Okay, so we're going to talk about phrases. Okay, in the previous video we talked a little bit about phrases. Okay, just a little bit. So we talk about which one is a subject, which one is a predicate, and so on, but they're just really general. Okay, they're very general. Okay, now we're going to be more specific in this. We're going to talk about phrases. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about 6 things. Okay, what's a phrase first of all, and then we talk about prepositional phrases and adjective phrases and adjectival phrases. They are different. Okay, we'll discuss where the differences are and so on. We're also going to talk about noun phrases. We're also going to talk about adverb phrase and adverbial phrases, and lastly for phrases and phrasal verbs. Okay, the last one, phrasal verbs, I'm sorry that I don't think we're going to talk about it. Okay, I don't think that is pretty much important in my opinion, but in this context though. But if it's like in any other context, phrasal verbs are really important, but not for this video. Okay, so we'll skip it. Right, so let's talk about the first topic, which is what's a phrase and the problem with its definition. Okay, so you can ask some linguists about the definition of phrase. You'll get different answers, but in general, traditionally, okay, a phrase is defined as a group of words that does not contain a verb and a subject and is used as a single part of speech. Okay, now from this definition we can imply 3 things. First, it specifies that only a group of words can constitute a phrase, implying that a single word cannot, in which a single word can be a phrase. Okay, and number 2, it distinguishes phrases from clauses, which is a good thing, and it requires that the group of words believed to be a phrase constitute a single grammatical unit. A single grammatical unit, for example, like an adverb, an adjective, a noun, a verb, and so on. Okay, now let's take a look at these sentences. Okay, so we talk about that it cannot, implying that a single word cannot. Okay, however, let's take a look at some of the examples. Bruce laughed, my grandfather laughed, the old man laughed. Okay, so all of them, they take the similar function, which is the subject. Okay, but this one is only a single word. That's why some people consider it as a noun. Some linguists also describe them as a noun phrase, even though it only has one word. Okay, and it's similar with my grandfather and the old man, which is definitely more than one word. So we use noun phrase definitely, okay, because it's not just a word. Okay, and then yeah, she kicked John's leg, John sore leg hard. Okay, so yeah, this standalone is a noun. Okay, it's a noun, but it also can be a noun phrase. Okay, if we analyze it from the perspective of phrases, okay, it's also a noun phrase. Okay, but it's a direct object. So a direct object is a function, okay, in a sentence. There is a function in a sentence where it is something that is a direct victim, okay, of the verb. Okay, that's a direct object. So whatever the verb is doing, okay, the immediate, okay, jadi korban langsung dari verb itu adalah direct object. Compare it with indirect object. Okay, so for example, he bought Kim some flowers. Okay, so in this sentence the word Kim, okay, is the indirect object because it's not something that he bought. Okay, the idea? Okay, so He bought something. What is it? Some flowers. Okay, some flowers are the direct object because ya yang dibeli itu bunga, bukan Kim yang dibeli. Okay, while indirect object is also an object of a sentence. Okay, but that's not the direct victim. Okay, I can say the direct victim of the verb. So that's the idea. Okay, that's the difference between direct object and indirect object. And moving on, we got verb phrase. We also got adverb phrase as adverbial. We'll talk about all the definitions later on. Okay, so yeah, they all constitute a single grammatical unit. Okay, all of them. But what about prepositional phrase? Okay, prepositional phrase, the main word is this one: at, during, in, and under. Okay, and yeah, they also function as one grammatical unit. That. Okay, and we'll talk about all of them later. Okay. Oh, I also forgot to mention that phrases can be split. Okay, so depends on the context, you can split them, but later when we if we still have another meeting, okay, I'll make sure that we all use non-split phrases. Okay, so we got split verb phrase, like how did you do that? Okay, so the verb did and do, they are separated, will almost certainly not come. Okay, this almost certainly not, they are adjective phrase. Okay, and then we maybe later we can discuss how to dissect, okay, how to separate these phrases so we can understand them better. Okay, and then Tom's, how shall I put it, partner is my sister. Okay, so yeah, the word Tom and partner is separated, it's split, okay, by this commentary, how shall I put it. Okay, and yeah, prepositional phrase also can be split. Okay, for example, like whom should I give this letter to? Okay, so that's the idea that phrases can be split. Okay, now in a phrase we have something called heads, kepala, literally kepala. Okay, so the head of a phrase is the word in a phrase that defines what kind of phrase it is. Okay, so if you see earlier in the slides earlier, okay, we talk about noun phrase, we talk about adjective phrase, we talk about adverb phrase, verb phrase, and prepositional phrase. Okay, the head is definitely the noun. Okay, for example, noun phrase head is a noun. For example, hot water, or John's new puppy, or a very silly mistake. Okay, the head of an adjective phrase is obviously an adjective, and so on and so forth. Okay, it happens with adverb phrase. Verb phrase is a main verb. Okay, prepositional phrase, that the preposition that introduces the phrase, and so on. Okay, so yeah, that's the head, and then we also get something else. Now, so let's talk first about prepositional phrase. This is the easiest, one of the easiest one. Okay, so I want to talk about it first. So what is prepositional phrase? Okay, we also abbreviate it, disingkat with PP. So a prepositional phrase is a phrase that consists of a preposition followed by a noun. For example, who's talking to George? A pronoun between them. Okay, them is a pronoun. A noun phrase with a knife and fork, or an adverb. What's in there? Okay, there is an adverb. But again, the head is a preposition. Okay, so usually the structure of a prepositional phrase is there's a head, okay, and then behind it there's an object, also known as a complement. Okay, now prepositional phrases may be the complements. I'll check it out later. Wait, how do I pronounce it? Complement. Okay, complement. Okay, be the complements of prepositions in larger prepositional phrases. For example, there was a lot of noise coming from behind the door. Okay, So we first got a prepositional phrase from behind the door, and then underneath it there's another prepositional phrase which is behind the door. Or for example, like this, from under the stones. Okay, so we got the first prepositional phrase which is from under the stones, and then the other one which is under the stones. Okay, and then prepositional phrase may be modified by an adverb. For example, the dog was lying right beside the gate. So this one, okay, beside the gate, the prepositional phrase is modified by an adverb, right, persis. Okay, it is quite beyond belief that you could be so stupid. Okay, so beyond belief is a prepositional phrase, and the word quite is an adverb that describes the prepositional phrase. Okay. And then so what do they do? Okay, what do prepositional phrase do? Okay, so there are two main functions. The first one is called adverbials. Okay, the function of adverbials is to add more information. Okay, to add more information. For example, they can be adjuncts, okay, saying where, when, how, with what, for who, and so on. Okay, for example, the cat was on the table, so it describes the cat. Okay, in Scotland, it's some. Okay, sorry, this is a typo. Hold on, let me correct it. It's sometimes snows in summer. Okay, and then yeah, that's the adjuncts, and we can use them as disjuncts, so they make a comment to the rest of the sentence. For example, to my surprise, there was no one there. Okay, so this prepositional phrase, to my surprise, describes the whole sentence. There was no one there. Also, this one, in all fairness, I don't think we can blame her for what happened. Okay, so in all fairness is a comment for the whole sentence behind it. And they can also be conjuncts. Okay, so they link sentences. You are not going diving. For a start, you can't swim. Okay, so this one, for a start, they link. Okay, they join two sentences. You are not going diving and you can't swim. Okay, and then in the first place, you don't know how to dive. For another thing, you can't afford it. Okay, this is a prepositional phrases. Okay, which is also a conjuncts. And this one, for another thing, also a prepositional phrase as conjuncts. Okay, so in the first place, they tell you about the numbers, right? The sort of reasons. The second one also combines. Okay, they can join these two sentences. Okay, so adding more ideas. Yeah, so we can adjuncts, disjuncts, and conjuncts. Okay, and then this one they use as a complement. Okay, they modify the noun. Okay, so prepositional phrase as subject complements. Okay, so this of great value, okay, is a prepositional phrase, and it modifies the noun work. Okay, and his opinion is of little interest to me. Okay, of little interest to me, it modifies to the noun opinion. Now, but this, your work, his opinion, is the subject of the sentence. Okay, you see, because it is in front of the verb is, so it is the subject. Okay, in active sentences. And then prepositional phrases as object complements. So this one, they modify the object. Okay, so we consider the information of little importance. So this of little importance, they modify the word information. Okay, and he found the work boring and beneath his dignity. So the word beneath his dignity here, it describes, it modify the work, the word work. Okay, now it might get a little confusing. Okay, with what is the difference between adverbials and complements. Okay, to make it quite simple, we can say that complements describe what the noun is. Okay, what the noun is. For example, your work. Okay, this one, your work. Okay, so what kind of work? Something that has great value. Okay, or the information. Okay, what kind of information? Something of little importance. That's the idea. Okay, so complements, they try to answer the question what, while adverbials, they talk about where, when, how, and many others. The comment or linking sentences. Okay, that's generally. So you can see the difference. Okay, the cat was on the table. Okay, so you're not talking about what kind of cat it is. Okay, you're asking where the cat is. Or like in Scotland, you don't ask what kind of Scotland. No, right? Oh, sorry, no. We talk about in summer. Okay, the prepositional phrase is in summer and it describes the snow. Okay, add more info about the snow. Okay, but we don't talk about what kind of snow it is, but we are asking when it is. Okay, so yeah, that's the easy way to see the difference between adverbials and complements. Okay, yeah, so that's about prepositional phrase. We move on up to adjective phrase and adjectival phrase. Right, so adjective phrase is any phrase that has an adjective as its head, obviously, that can occupy the same position as a single adjective in a noun phrase or feel the same so as a single adjective. Okay, the point is that adjective phrase has an adjective as its head, or it can replace an adjective. If you still remember, adjective describes a noun. Okay, so for example, her behavior was unbelievable. Okay, this one alone is an adjective, also an adjective phrase. Okay, but if you have two words here, okay, absolutely unbelievable, that's an adjective phrase with the head unbelievable. Okay, it was a happy marriage. Okay, happy is a word. Okay, so it is an adjective, but can also be an adjective phrase. Okay, while very happy, which consists of two words, okay, it's an adjective phrase. Okay, and the head is happy, obviously. Okay, and then what do? Okay, they modify nouns. Okay, just like adjective itself, it modifies nouns. Okay, so a very exciting proposal. Okay, so very exciting describes what kind of proposal it is. A surprisingly easy exam, so surprisingly easy describes what exam it is. A good enough result. Okay, so what kind of result? Good enough. Okay, and then we can also use it as a subject complement. Okay, the results were good enough. Okay, so good enough describes the result, which is the subject of the sentence. You've made us very proud. Okay, so the very proud here, the adjective phrase, what does it describe? Us. Okay, the object of the verb made. Okay, that was awfully silly of you, wasn't it? Okay, so awfully silly of, okay, we just awfully silly, and that right there. Okay, awfully silly. What does it describe? The subject, that. Okay, whatever that is. Okay, which is the subject. And then let's consider the subject pretty well closed. Okay, so pretty well closed is an adjective phrase that describes the subject. Okay, that's one, which is an object of the whole sentence. Okay, the subject, okay, are the object of the verb considered. It's like that. Okay, and then yeah, so there's something called adjective phrase. We talk about it. Okay, it's a phrase that has an adjective as said. Okay, and then something else called adjectival phrases. Okay, so it's any phrase that can function like an adjective. Okay, again, so you can describe a noun any way that you like it. Okay, so you can use noun phrase to describe a noun. You can use prepositional phrase and other types of phrases. For example, we had a 5-hour delay. Okay, so the 5-hour is an adjectival phrase even though 5 hour is a noun phrase. Okay, and then this is a good example of a 15th century castle. Okay, 15th century is a noun phrase, but since it describes a noun, we can call it adjectival phrase. Okay, our company believes in on-the-job training. Okay, similar. Okay, it is similar on the job. This is a prepositional phrase, and it describes the noun, so we still call it adjectival phrases. But later, if we just want to say that it is a prepositional phrase, it's also fine. Okay, it'll also fine. Or you can say, I need a fast acting medicine. So this one, fast acting, it is an adjective. Okay, because it describes adjective. Also, it's an adjective phrase because this fast acting describes medicine. That's the idea. Okay, now we move on to noun phrase. Okay, noun phrase, I think this and verb phrase is the easiest one. Okay, so they are any phrase that has noun at its head and can occupy the same sound as a single noun or pronoun in a larger phrase or in a sentence. Okay, bear with me. So the head of a noun phrase is the noun being described in the phrase. So she gave him a great big kiss. Okay, so from this one, a great big kiss. Okay, the head is a kiss. Okay, and the word kiss is described, okay, by the word great and big. Okay, so inside the noun phrase there is another phrase which is adjective phrase, and so on. Okay, they are both excellent teachers. Okay, so yeah, this is the head, the word teachers, and then it is being described by an adjective excellent. He's a tall, good-looking man. Okay, so yeah, the head is this one. Okay, the word being described is what? Tall, the word tall and good-looking. Okay, and then this one, they are in the back garden. Okay, so we can divide this, okay, into several phrases. So first, we can separate them into in the back garden, which is a prepositional phrase, and then once you are done with that, we can also make another layer underneath it, the back garden, which is a noun phrase. Okay, and underneath it there is a adjective, the word back. Okay, and then he had been watching her all evening. Okay, we got a, sorry, what do you call this one? Yeah, determiner. Sorry, yeah, all is a determiner and it describes the evening. Okay, and then yeah, a noun phrase, it can consist of predeterminers, determiners, quantifiers, adjective, and a head noun. So you can make something as long like this. Both the first two, very nice, extremely interesting, quite small, fairly round, rather all depressingly black, badly rusty, typically French steel atomic reactors. It's not practical in real life, okay, but it's possible. But just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Okay, so yeah, this has everything that we talked before. A predeterminer, which is both. Okay, determiner, the. Okay, and then we also got quantifiers. Okay, first, and then numerals, two, and then the rest adjectives. We got adverb, we got adjective, adverb, adjective, and so on and so forth. Okay, and the head noun is this one, reactors. Even the word atomic is still an adjective here. Okay, so yeah, the main noun here is reactors. Oops. Right. Now, so noun phrase, it's really versatile. It can be anything, okay, in a sentence. They can be the subject. So more heavy rain, this is the subject, and then there's a verb in here, okay. Or rather fat middle-aged man, this is the subject with the verb in here. The entire male population of the village is the subject with the verb was behind it. Okay, and then the direct object again is, I can say, korban langsung. Okay, the direct victim of the verb. Okay, so a thick woolen coat is something that the old lady was wearing. Okay, so this is like, yeah, the direct, something that was the direct victim of the verb wear. Okay, or like this one, I don't much like modern pop music. Okay, so this one, the music, is the direct object of the verb like. The waiter brought 2 glasses of beer. So yeah, the noun beer is the direct object of the verb brought. Right, so we can also use it as an indirect object. Okay, so I gave the old beggar money for a cup of tea. Okay, so yeah, the direct object is money, the indirect object is the old beggar. Okay, because something that I gave, okay, you don't give an old beggar, okay, sorry, you don't give the old beggar 2 money, right? I mean, money cannot receive an old beggar, right? That's the idea. So yeah, so the direct object of the word gave is money, the indirect one is the old beggar. Okay, like this one as well. Tom took his wife some flowers. Okay, so you cannot give his wife to the flowers. No, you give the flowers to his wife, right? So the indirect object is his wife. Okay, while the direct object of the verb took is some flowers. And the other 2 examples. Yeah, I hope you understand this one as well. Okay, and then subject complements. Okay, so it describes, it modifies the subject. Okay, John is a gifted teacher, so the teacher, who is the teacher? John. That's the idea. And then object complements. Okay, we consider John a very good teacher, so who's the good teacher? John, and the John is the object of this sentence. Okay, and then it can also be that as an adverbial. Okay, for example, saving on, oh sorry, I was trying to say saying, right, saying where or how something is done. I'll see you tomorrow night. Next year we'll do things differently. Okay, so again, it describes when or how. Okay, but it uses a noun, night, year, way, and so on. Okay, and then we can also use it as a complement or object of preposition in prepositional phrase. So you're in great danger. Okay, so this is a prepositional phrase, but if you go deeper, we will find noun phrase, great danger, which consists of 2 words. The first one is an adjective, great. The second one is the noun, danger. Okay, and noun phrase can also modify an adjective or adverbs. Oops. Okay, the same way that an adverb does. For example, like she is feeling a good deal better today. Okay, I'll choose this other 2. Okay, let's talk about this other 2. So it was a lot worse. Okay, a lot. Okay, it. Okay, so these two words, they describe the word worse. Okay, and the least bit, they describe the word worried. So it's similar to an adverb. Okay, so we can call it adverbial because it's similar to adverb. Right, and then we get to adverb phrase. Okay, they are a group of words that has an adverb as its head. For example, she got out of bed very slowly, I get along very well with her. Okay, and fast enough. Okay, so easily and more quickly. So yeah, adverb as its head, which is slowly, well, enough, easily, and quickly. That's the head. Okay, if you get confused, just try to think which word describes which. Okay, the head of an adverb phrase is the adverb that carries the main meaning of the phrase. Yeah, the main meaning: quickly, easily, enough, well, and slowly. Okay, and then what do they do? Okay, it's kind of similar with prepositional phrase. Okay, they still adverbials, they add more info. Okay, as adjuncts, For example, entirely rationally, it describes how, even better, how again. Okay, adjective phrases as disjunct, they make a comment, quite frankly, which is a comment of the whole sentence, oddly enough, and then the whole sentence. Okay, to make it easy, I put it in front. Okay, but if you want to put it at the end of the sentence, it's also okay. Okay, adjective phrase, sorry, adverb phrase. Oh my god, what was I thinking? Hold on, so many typos here. Yeah, better. Okay, much better. So yeah, you can use as adjuncts to talk about when, where, how, and so on. Disjuncts to make a comment, and also conjuncts to link sentences. For example, the word even so, and then again. This one. Okay, it just connects these two sentences, but yeah, they are adverb after all. Okay, why? This is what happens if you copy pasted some slides. Okay, so what do we use them? To modify adjectives, adverbs, and other word groups. Okay, to say how much or how little something is it. So for example, I know only too well how you feel. Okay, so it is only too well describes how you feel, and then far too loudly describes singing. Okay, much too soon describes over. Okay, which is a what do you call it? A preposition. I know all too well. Okay, the word all too well here describes, okay, to modify, they modify the word know. Okay, and then so far we talk about adverb phrase. Okay, and I'm sure by now you already get it. The had is an adverb, but adverbial, okay, adverbial phrase. Okay, any phrase that can function as an adverb. Okay, sorry, too many typos. Adverb in the sentence. Okay, so for example, noun phrases: tomorrow morning, the very next day, next week. Okay, the word morning, day, and week, which is the head. Okay, but they are not objects of the sentence. They describe when, right? Which is something that an adverb will do. And a prepositional phrase, okay, in town, from a safe distance, on Tuesday. Again, the main, what do you call it? The head, okay, the head is this preposition: in, from, and on. Okay, and this is the last one for phrase. I hope there's no more typo here. So a verb phrase is a group of two or more words that can function in a sentence in the same way as a single verb. Okay, so like this one, we have been looking for you everywhere. So so the head of the verb phrase is the main verb or lexical verb. Okay, so for example, like this one, the main verb is the word look, the word read, and the word known. Okay, I'm sure you've already been so familiar with this because throughout your 10 years of learning English or even more, which is great. Okay, I'm sure that the only thing that we really focus too much on is the verb, right? And I'm sure you already know what the lexical verb is. Okay, the main verb. Okay, and there's also something else. Okay, the other words, which is have been, have, should have. Okay, also known as auxiliary verbs. Okay, and then before that, and when we talk about the what do you call it, the auxiliary verbs, okay, it can be modals, like something that we discussed in the previous chapter. Okay, or maybe like this one, have to give you present aspect. Okay, and then been to give you continuous aspect and so on. And then they also could bring meaning, some other meaning, like the tense, past, present, or future. Oh, I forgot to put will. Yeah, For example, like auxiliary verb will to describe that it is the future and so on. Okay, and the function, well, I mean, it's a verb, right? It's a verb, so it does something. It tells you what the subject is doing, okay, or the state of the verb. For example, if you say I am hungry, okay, I am hungry. It's not I am doing hungry. No, it's my state, my condition. Okay, it connects the word hungry with the subject I, for example, like that. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can do the exercises. Okay,